New Orleans police officers have been criticized in the past for their abuse of power and their police brutality. However, it turns out that many of them are still working even though they're facing serious indictments. Case in point, an investigation by a local news organization has revealed that 2 officers who are currently awaiting trial for felonies are back on the job after a 120-day suspension. Now, I should note that when it comes to this particular police department, a 120-day suspension is the harshest punishment imaginable before getting fired. However, they cannot get fired until their charges have been proven to be true, okay? They have to be, there has to be a verdict in order for them to get fired. Now, one of them is a 54-year-old Bradley Wax. He was arrested in April of 2014 and was charged with possessing 38 counts of child pornography. This guy is back on the job, okay? He is a police officer in New Orleans. The other officer, 40-year-old Michael Thomasy, was charged in February of 2014 with aggravated rape. Prosecutors say the alleged victim was under the age of 10 at the time of the crime. Now the officer is working as a desktop in the city's 4th district. So this highlights a really interesting conundrum because on one hand, you have to be proven guilty,
sure,
right? So you're innocent until proven guilty. Should you be able to continue working even if the charges against you include things like child pornography and rape?
No, hell no. Children are being affected, and this right here just shows how power and money, and it's just so much wrong with this. I just cannot imagine. I'm dumbfounded right now. If I was these police officers' co-workers, if I was another cop in this department, I don't know how I would be able to come to work every day and see you sitting at this desk comfortably, knowing that I'm a father and that you are holding child pornography, that you've raped a 10-year-old child, allegedly. It's just disgusting. And I don't want you in the vicinity of any of the work that I'm doing because your attitude taints the respect that I'm trying to gain for our department. And it's just disgusting.
I mean, it's funny because I'm sitting here thinking, and I have seen, obviously, there is something very important, and you are innocent until proven guilty. And let's just say there is a situation where somebody is wrongfully accused. And anytime anyone is accused of anything having to do with child pornography, molestation, rape, obviously, I mean, it will destroy your life, your credibility, your career, everything about you. You're toast, essentially, socially speaking, professionally, all of the above. So there is a part of me that wants to hold on to the tenets of our justice system that does require that you go through the entire process. But I think in a situation where, I think, again, like everything has to be nuanced, and that's like my theme of today, is that you need to take a look at this policy of 120-day suspension, and you need to take a look at the charges that are levied against the police officer, and you need to make a judgment about whether that needs to be changed. Right. And if it's a question of they still get paid, but they have to stay at home, and they're on paid leave, and they're not, like you said, tainting the atmosphere, you know, of the workplace. I mean, this is, again, we're talking about law enforcement. That to me makes more sense.
I agree.
Because there's some sort of balanced way to approach this, and having these people in the workplace considering the charges is not only, I would think, very difficult for them. I can't imagine how they're being treated if people assume these are true, and I have no idea what the circumstances are here, but they just shouldn't be in the workplace.
Yeah, I think that you hit the nail on the head. I think that it is important to value and respect our justice system and the way that it's supposed to work in terms of being innocent until you're proven guilty, because people are accused of things that they haven't actually done. And so I don't want to see someone's life absolutely ruined for an accusation that isn't true. However, there is a high possibility that they did commit these crimes, and as a result, I don't want them out on the field abusing their power.
That's the main thing.
So if they do the 120-day suspension and then they're doing desk duty until a verdict is read, then I'm much more comfortable with that as opposed to letting them go out in the field and do what they're supposed to do.
But I get still nervous with that because you still have the title of being a police officer.
Yeah, and by the way, what is I don't know what they do for desk duty. I don't know how much power they have as someone who does desk duty.
But you're still interacting with the public. I mean, I went into the police station to get friends who got, you know, in trouble after a late night of drinking or something, and the person at the desk interacts with everyone. And so you still have to respect them as a police officer.
And you're privy to information, I imagine, that is sensitive.
incentive.
Probably.
You know what I mean? And so I'm just thinking, like, if you're being charged this, if you're being charged rape, if you're being charged any of these things, I don't need you wielding your power at all. Yes, 120 days, we're stripping your title, and you can go home, and you can be at home until the verdict is found.
Yeah.
You're both hitting it right. We don't want to accuse anyone who hasn't been found guilty yet, but with that much power, police officers have so much power, and they're intimidating to the regular public. So if you've raped somebody or allegedly raped someone, and now you've come to my house and you're like, I'm a cop, I need to come in there. Part of me is going to be like,
yeah.
well,
at least these men are kept on desk jobs, but still, it's...
Yeah.
But what happens when they walk out and they're like, I'm still a cop.
You're right.
I'm still a police officer.
That's a really, really great point. I think it kind of highlights another very big issue that we have in society. We're supposed to have the right to a fair and speedy trial.
Yeah.
And oftentimes the trials are not fair, and very often they're not speedy. So the 120-day suspension makes sense to me, and I feel like within look, you can't solve a case in 120 days, but we definitely shouldn't be, dilly-dallying when these serious cases arise, especially when it comes to raping children and possessing child pornography.
Yeah.
And you're a police officer.
And
You're a police officer. It should get sped up immediately.